Hello everybody!
Hi!
We are so glad that you decided to tune into our video today as we talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts and I'm sure yours as well. Number one, travel, and number two, saving money. Now those two things don't usually go together. You're probably asking yourself, how can I travel but save money? That's the whole reason I can't travel, is because I don't have enough money. But we're here today to show you that you can do a really awesome tropical paradise trip with under $1,000 for you and your best friend. What we're going to do first is show you each and every line item we had for the budget of this trip. And so you can see exactly where all the money went and how we were able to do it so cheaply.
Try to ignore our dog barking.
Yeah, Thor's having a good old time communicating with the nice looking lady down the road. You know.
Okay, back to the budget.
So for this trip, our airfare only cost us $532 total, which equaled only $266 per person for a round-trip flight to Puerto Rico from North Carolina.
Woo!
Furthermore, our Airbnb only cost us $84.94.
Major win!
Yeah.
What?
And then, as far as the things that we wanted to see while we were there, attractions, things to do, it cost $198 total for our trip to and from San Juan to the rainforest. It included the transportation and the entry into the rainforest with a guided tour. We also went to the forts of El Morro, which are these awesome forts in Old San Juan, right there at the capital, and it only cost us $7 per person to get into those for a total of $14. As far as transportation, it cost $20 for our taxi from the airport to our Airbnb, and we did kind of feel like we were getting a ripoff, but it was late at night, so we didn't really argue the price.
We were. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. The Ubers ended up being a lot cheaper than taxi. We did multiple rides for a total of only $25, but that was only from small distances in San Juan to other parts of San Juan, so that never ended up being that expensive.
Yeah.
So that equals a grand total of $873.94 for our whole trip, which is incredible if you think about it. That's for two people for a round trip for 5 days and 4 nights in a tropical paradise of Puerto Rico. And if you want to break that out per person, that's only $436.97 per person. That's super cheap, guys. Anybody can afford to do that trip. You can save up one paycheck and boom, you got that trip.
No excuses.
That's right.
No excuses anymore.
Not all travel has to be expensive. And that's something that's very important to us, is we don't want you to just think that we're super rich because we're traveling a lot. We're not. We're saving money like crazy for every single trip and working our butts off to make each one happen. So when we can get a trip for super cheap, that is a total win in our books. And we think in everybody's books, who wouldn't want to travel for cheap?
Yeah.
So now, let's break down each item and tell you exactly how we were able to do this. Because you may be wondering, well, that's cool that you were able to get such a good deal, but I could never do that. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
And here's how.
Okay, so the first point we want to talk about is how we got such a good deal on a flight to Puerto Rico. So we used a budget airline. We used Frontier, and it was direct from our closest airport straight into San Juan. I think part of the reason that the flights to Puerto Rico were so cheap this past summer was because last year Puerto Rico was devastated by Hurricane Maria, and so a lot of tourists aren't going back there or didn't go back there this year. And so the flights were really low, and Frontier Airlines just recently opened up a direct flight into Puerto Rico, started flying there. So that is super, super great because that means budget flights for us to be able to go, which is great if you're on a budget. So a lot of people aren't a fan of budget airlines. However, in our experience with them so far, we've flown 3. If you go into it with the right mindset and the right attitude, you can really make the budget airline work for you. And that's exactly what we did with this trip. We packed in only personal size items. You can see that video here for both of us. And so we did not pay any extra fee for a carry-on. We just did the general seating. So literally the only thing that we had to pay for was the cheap ticket. And that's where a lot of times budget airlines get you and they make their money. And also why you hear a lot of horror stories about them is because people are expecting that, oh, my ticket will only be $200 or very cheap. And then they get feed for everything. But you got to go into it prepared that you're not going to buy the extra things. You're just gonna go really cheap, and then you will just be able to pay that.
Yeah. In fact, we didn't even pay to be able to sit together because that would have cost about $30 per person per flight. So like another extra 120 bucks on top of that. But what we did is we just got to the airports early and checked in, and they gave us seats beside each other anyway.
And probably soon we're gonna make a video, or if you're watching this in the future, it'll probably be right here,
yeah.
about how we travel on budget airlines and how we've really been able to make them work for us. So stay tuned for that.
The next big money saver on our list is lodging. Most people usually pay a lot of money for where they're going to stay. And you could easily do that in Puerto Rico. There's many luxury hotels and super fancy places that you could stay, but we decided to stay at an Airbnb. And it wasn't the perfect place. We didn't rent an entire house or an apartment. We stayed in a private room of someone's apartment, but it was super safe. It was on the 3rd floor, which they owned the whole 3rd floor, which was the top. So we had to go through 2 gates that were locked that we had keys to get into that apartment, and then a further locked door for our room. So it was super safe. It had a rooftop terrace. It was right in the middle of the city. It was a perfect, amazing place. And it was super cheap, way cheaper than a hotel would have been for a 4-night stay. And in fact, if you want to know how we did it so cheaply, it was a cheap Airbnb to start with, but we also had a referral discount that we got when we helped someone else get a discount for Airbnb. So for example, if you use our link, which is down in the description box below, you will get $40 off your first stay if you sign up for Airbnb with our link, and then we get a discount as well. And so that's how we helped out a family member earlier. They got a discount, and then we got a discount for our trip. So we can all help each other.
We're just sharing the love.
That's right.
You know, we want everybody to travel, everybody to be able to travel cheap. We love Airbnb, and we've used it for literally every trip that we've done so far. So it's great, and it saved us so much money.
Yeah.
And our experience was great with those hosts in Puerto Rico. I mean,
yeah,
it was fine.
Not every Airbnb host is this nice, but our particular host let us use their snorkeling equipment so that we could go snorkel in the bay by San Juan for free.
Don't be afraid of Airbnb or staying in someone's house. Just make sure you read the reviews. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that now. Moving on.
But Airbnb is a huge money saver, even if you don't have any discount links. But if you're watching this video, you totally get one because that link in the description.
Yes, check it out. Okay, so the next point that we want to talk about with how we saved money and traveled cheaply to Puerto Rico is that we did not rent a car. Now, there is a strategy for this here because it would be convenient because there are a lot of things to see around Puerto Rico that you may need to drive for. However, we made sure that our Airbnb was in a central location in San Juan. I knew that if we were trying to save money, a lot of the things that we would want to do would be in San Juan and Old San Juan. A lot of the beaches and just relaxing and exploring the city. So we made sure that our Airbnb was going to be in a central location in San Juan so that we could walk to a lot of things, which we did.
Yeah.
And then we also used Uber. Uber Puerto Rico was great. It was actually the first time we've used Uber, which is why all of my emails are in Spanish for Uber still. It was a great experience, and we took several Ubers that added up to be about $25, which is like nothing. So yeah, that saved us so much money. And then our trip to the rainforest that we did on Sunday, they picked us up and dropped us off, so we didn't even have to worry about transportation then.
Yeah. And the reason that's so important for us for this trip is because we were specifically trying to do a cheap budget trip. And rental cars will blow your budget. I don't know if you guys have watched our Ireland series, but we had to do a rental car for that, and because we were both considered young drivers, we're not over age 25 yet, we had to pay through the nose to get a rental car. And there's just so much things like insurance, all these fees, just all that stuff, that it was super awesome to be able to do a simple trip without having to go through the hassle of a rental car.
Without having to go through your nose.
Yeah, that is an expression, paying through the nose. Maybe I just dated myself, but not really, because I just told you I'm under 25. And lastly, the way that we chose to do our sightseeing stuff, that wasn't really budget. That's just not that expensive. The biggest splurge was spending $200 to go to the rainforest because we just really wanted to go to the rainforest. But if you think about it, that's not much. It's $100 per person, and that included the transportation to and from the rainforest and the guided tour and the entry, and it was a super awesome day.
All day.
So fun. I would go back and do it again. And the other thing, the forts, that was super cheap, and that was only $7 per person, and that was also very fun to see. And everything else that we did was kind of just walking around the city.
Swimming.
Yes, we went swimming in the bay for free. We went snorkeling. Yeah. Trying local foods, going to food trucks, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's, you know, that's obviously you pay for your food, but it's super cheap to do stuff like that. And another thing I'll say is the reason you may be asking, why didn't we include food in our budget? And the reason is food in Puerto Rico is a comparable price to the food where we live in North Carolina. So that wasn't a big difference. And the thing is, if you're paying for food in your home, you're going to be paying for it abroad and vice versa. So we didn't pay any extra for food than we would have at home. So we don't really count that in the calculation because that's a fixed cost. That's there anyway.
But even still, if we did, we would still be under $1,000 for the trip. So
because honestly, we ate at cheap food trucks and local restaurants that did not charge that much. I mean, it's not a super expensive place to buy food.
And they were so cute and like so sweet. It was the best.
And we didn't have to eat out all the time. There was a Walmart 3 blocks from our Airbnb, and we could stock up on groceries from there. So we ate some meals in our Airbnb.
For sure.
Yeah. I hope this video has inspired you guys to be able to travel cheaply. There's tons of good travel hacks out there that not just we have talked about, but that lots of other people have talked about. So just do your research and figure out a way that you can make your dream trip happen. And you might be able to make it happen sooner than you think because you don't have to pay the price that you think it costs.
And I think a lot of the time, airline tickets are what really are expensive for people, but if you can watch the flights and find them when they're at a good deal, that's going to save you so much money on your trip.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the thing with flights is when they do put out super cheap flights, they'll get sold out really quickly or they'll change the price. So when we saw these super cheap flights, we just made the decision to book them within 24 hours. It was kind of a spur of the moment trip, but we made it happen because it was such a good deal.
So far, that's how we've done most of our trips.
Yep.
Oh, a good deal. Book it.
That's right.
Boom.
In fact, that's exactly how we did our next trip that you'll be seeing in a few weeks.
2 weeks.
We're super excited for this one, guys. It was not a cheap trip, but it was an amazing trip. So we hope you'll stay tuned. Go subscribe to our channel if you want to see that coming out later. And if you want to see also other good travel hacks. We'll be putting out lots of videos on reviews for gear that we use and helps us travel, and also good things and places to go to.
We would love to have you join the community. Thank you guys for watching.
Also, go leave a comment under this video and tell us where you want to go to next.
Or where you think we should go to next.
Yeah. We love to talk travel, whether it's you, whether it's us. We don't care. We just love it.
And we love when you comment on our videos.
That's right.
Thank you. So be sure to do that and subscribe. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.